Hi, I'm Random Trashy, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to give you an overview of my Raptor Tactical Odin Mark III. This is kind of a typical two-piece belt. There is a lot of these on the market. Some of them vary in quality, some of them vary in features and functions. For me, the Odin Senshi was the one that I was recommended a lot. It's a very similar design to this. The reason why I went for the Raptor Tactical was actually the turnaround time and the fact that you can get a bespoke size made. A lot of the belts that I've found, you know, they start at a 31, 32 inch waist. I'm about 29, 30, dependent on, you know, hydration and those sort of factors. So I just wanted to get something that was a little bit smaller, a little bit snug, and I will go into that further in the review. Again, typical two-piece belts. You have the inner velcro that is a soft side of velcro, or the loop side, and then you've got the spike side on the outside of the belt. I will show exactly how this comprises together, the accessories and everything that I run. I think the best way that I can do this is just to change camera angle, drop down to my waistline and show you this belt going on and how I've got it set up, what accessories I run on here and where I run them. Rather than doing this as two videos, I'll do an overview of the belt in this, and I will also do an overview of my personal setup. So what we've got here, guys, is just a 2-inch waistband. These are the Claw Gear Enforcer pants. If you want to check out some more information on these, there will be a review coming to the channel very soon. What I've done is just tucked my shirt in so that you can see the belt going on as clear as possible. It does help if you've got these slightly wider loops rather than trying to fit this into jeans. You can do it because it's like an 1.5 inch belt, but it does just add that little bit of easeability just for you to be able to thread all this through with these much wider loops. So the best thing to do, the way I set this up, is, you know, you've got your internal looped belts first. So just ripping this open, it velcros closed at the front. Nice thing is that there isn't a clasp on this, so it's as comfortable as possible. This is in like a coyote tan sort of colour. Nice bit of padding on this internal belt, as you can see from the foam here. It's not massively thick. It's, you know, it's not going to offer up any sort of, you know, severe protection, but it does just add that little bit of comfort if you do run some weight on here. Nice sort of aero mesh material around here that's going to allow for ventilation. Good bit of velcro at the front, spiky side, and then obviously we've got the loop side on the outside of here. So there isn't really a particular way up for this, up nor down, doesn't particularly matter. Feed that through all of your belt loops all of the way round. I'm just going to throw you round through the back here. I do try to go through as many of them as possible. On some of your pants, just for extra support, you might want to avoid that back one, but I do like going through it if I can. Coming round to the front then, I just tuck the, because of the size of my waistline, I just tuck the soft side of the velcro, the loop side, underneath as much as I can. I don't go overly tight here. I tuck it in and then I tuck it under the loops. So what this stops is, it stops me from having this kind of flappy end ever catching on anything. It's nice and tucked under the loops. This is supporting the trousers, so it's just holding the trousers snug around my waistline. And then we get the belt itself. This part of the belt is incredibly light. I will go into some more details on this, but as you can see, you've got the molle attachments around the outside, so you can molle accessories on. They don't have to fit completely over the belt. I've gone for the larger clasp on the front. You can go for this Cobra Buckle in a mini style, but I've got the larger one. You can also get it with a D-ring. Now, because of the fact that I don't do any rappelling, I don't do any kind of vehicle retention or anything like that, that's what that D-ring's for. Also, a lot of them come silver, and it gives off a little bit of a signature. So just to reduce that, and also to reduce the cost, I went for just the Cobra Buckle. Squeeze the top and bottom and it opens up like so. Really nice positive clasp. You're never going to pull that apart. It's not going to be a belt that's just going to come loose, and it also is quite difficult for you to accidentally, you know, take the belt off. So just by pinching them in, you loosen it off. As you can see, you've got the spiky side of velcro on the inside here, and that's what attaches to the belt. Now sometimes this can be a little bit fiddly trying to get this all lined up, so what I try and do is, with that back panel, I go from the back first, piece this round, hold it kind of even either side, and then just try and get it on as much of the spiky side of the velcro as possible, and then fix that on. Now the nice thing about that spiky side, it's now tied into the loop side, and there is no rotation from the belt at all. So, you know, pulling this belt round, the only thing that's moving is the whole set of trousers themselves, where they are nicely tied in. This D-clamp on the front is a little bit chunky, so if you are sat forward, if you're sat in any type of vehicle, that may sort of become uncomfortable. It might dig into your plate carrier depending on how low ride you like your plate carrier to set, but for me it hasn't caused too much discomfort, and this D-ring setup itself, you know, can come right round to the side, so it can give you, you know, a much wider signature. Me just going for the buckle has limited that signature at the front. So what I'm going to do is just show, you know, we've got the molle attachments here. I've got my Kydex holster here, and this is for my TAC 45. I'm just going to slide that in there. There is a separate review on this holster on the channel, but as you can see, just where it sits. So what I like to do, I don't like to have my pistol too far forward, like too far round. I really want it so as my hand angles back, you're just getting that natural, as my arms come back here, you're just getting that natural angle as it sits onto the pistol grip. So as my hand comes straight down, just naturally from the angle of my arm, it sits in that thumb rest. I see a lot of guys run their pistol much further forward, and as you're coming around to get it from here, like so, you're actually having to cant your elbow out and over to get a grip on the pistol. For me, I just want it as in a natural position as possible. My hand comes back and naturally creates this angle to go down and get the pistol. So I like to keep that a little bit further round towards you know, my right side, or round towards, you know, my hip side or the top of my bum cheek. Moving around to the left side, the setup that I run here, I have a pistol magazine at the front. Pistol mag goes in there quite nicely. If I ever need to, I can very, very quickly just run that in. There are BBs in this magazine, but there's actually no gas in it, so it's all safe. Again, if I need to, I can just very quickly access that, and very quickly, it's all at the front, it's all first line gear. So if I ever have my plate carrier off, you know, and I've got a pistol mag on me, we're held up in the fob or something like that, again, very quickly for me to be able to access it. The next thing round on my hip, which is you know, totally down to personal preference. You can run this in any setup you want. This is just the one that I like. I run my tremor. Again, if I sling my weapon drops down, naturally it comes down where my arm is here, sits in this gap between my buckle and between my pistol, so the weapon will ride here. If I need to come down to use a tremor, which I use a hell of a lot, especially in CQB, just pop this top buckle. This is a grenade pouch from Warrior Assault Systems, and again, very, very easy to access my tremor in that case. So no, that can go straight back in there. I like the extra retention because of the weight of it. I don't like just having Velcro on here. I do like that extra retention. If I'm laying on the ground, rolling around, the last thing I want to do is lose that tremor. Next thing round, I have again, another magazine pouch. This is one of the fast access Tactical pouches from Claw Gear. If you want to check these out, they are reviewed on my channel. I don't actually normally run it that way. Let me just spin that around. I normally run it in the gun like this. So again, I'm working to the angles of my body, and this is going to be different for everyone, but what I'm trying to work to here is that when my arm comes back, naturally my arm is hitting this. I've seen guys run these further around the front, further around the back. I find further around the back, my arm is beginning to really cant out here, and I find it difficult. So for me, it's the most ergonomic place to be able to get to my weapon. Just as my arms begin to tilt forward, they're in the same sort of position either side. So it's very easy for me to be able to get that access and then start working towards a fast mag change. The belt in that case works incredibly well because of all of these little molle slots on here. It makes the belt incredibly versatile for you to be able to put things all the way around. Now I will mention very quickly, you know, if I'm out on the ground running my pistol, just going to make sure here it's up on safe, and I am using my GR20. That at times I've also, as you can tell from a little bit of the fraying of the material on here, I have run my GR20 in here during a reload stage, during a stage of knowing that I'm going to go and breach a doorway. I sometimes run this on here like this for fast access. So approach the doorway, I don't have to go through any pockets. No, this isn't going to last on here for a long period of time, but if we're approaching a doorway, pull this from a pocket, just stick it there for the meantime, join the stack if there is a grenade needed, if we are doing a multiple person breach or we're breaching multiple buildings and we need to put multiple bangs in, then I'm very easy able to access that, and it just retains it nice and simple. Again, need to go to a secondary bang, nice and fast for me to be able to get to that. that tremor where it lives on the corner of you know, my hip pelvis area at all times. So that's the setup that I run from a pouch perspective. The other thing that I do have on here at the moment, and this is from the event last weekend, is a tourniquet. Now you see a lot of airsoft players running these at the moment, and a lot of the time it was for look more than anything, but now a lot of airsoft sites have started using these tourniquets, these wrap style tourniquets, as the medic function. So you can just rip that off the back like so. And the way these work, they've got some velcro on them like so, and they've got a D-ring for you to be able to pull that hole tighter and looser. So if you need to be medicked back into the game, someone can just put that around your arm rather than some bandage or funky armband. Just tuck that round. What I normally do is just tuck that under like so onto the velcro, and you've got some type of medic regeneration you know, capability on you at all times. Rather than someone else carrying one of these around for you, I always carry one of these, and it just makes life a little bit easier, especially being out on the ground. And if I have it round there, for me, I can medic someone else. It's easy for me to access even with my plate carrier on, and it stows away nicely. Really nice feature of the tactical belt in any sense. Now there are a load of companies that do these, like I mentioned them earlier, but for me, I really like this one. Now, the only concern that I did have is that I asked for this specifically to be a 29-30 inch waist, and when it arrived, it was way too big for me. Now, I don't know if that was the sizing that was off, or, you know, the custom size that I'd asked for hadn't been catered for. I did have to tailor this a lot. So what I've done on the inside of here is cut the belt short and had to bring the D-ring on the right-hand side, this loop here, as tight as I could get it. So that would be the only downside of the belt, and I'm just going to run in just to a final conclusion. So guys, just to sum up, really impressed with the Raptor Tactical belt. The quality of it is incredible, but then the price of it is not cheap. One thing that I wasn't impressed with, and that was the sizing. So I asked for a custom size to be made, a 29-30 inch waist, and this came in at about a 31-32 inch waist. So I don't know if it's something that had been custom, whether there was a mix up in the order or what, but by the time it had been sent to me from the States, I waited about 4 weeks for it, I think 3 weeks. It didn't fit well, so what I had to do is just cut away some of the inside material, which essentially looped through the D-ring and back. You know, it was like the excess that you would have to tighten or loosen the belt off, and just make that as small as possible. And what I've done is just cut that short, you know, singed the end of it with a lighter, singed a couple of threads and that sort of thing. Nothing major. The quality of it is incredible. Now, one of the things that I was asked about this is, you know, would I rather want a belt like this or a large, bulkier, you know, warrior belt like I used to run before? And for me now, it's definitely around how it's going to be used. Now the larger, big, thick padded belts, you know, Cry do one, Warrior Assault Systems do one, that allows you to have tons of pouches and bits hanging off of them, and if you're running a big med pack or a big blowout pack and you're running admin on them and potential canteens and all those sorts of things, then it's definitely better to go for something larger. These belts are designed for carrying, you know, first action kit. If you haven't got a plate carrier on, it's your immediate action stuff. For me, it's for what's convenient. So, you know, it really does depend on the use. If you want just a light setup like mine, pistol, magazine, some grenades, IFAK or something like that, then you could definitely just run that on a belt like this. If you're looking to run nav, comms, all that other stuff on a belt like this, for me, I would suggest going to something much larger with a much more padding. It's going to give you a lot more comfort if you're carrying a lot of weight. Now, this belt itself does have a small section of Velcro on the back that would allow you to attach a blowout or an IFAK kit to it. I would never use anything like that on this that isn't secured properly. I think if you're in a firefight, if you're doing any type of training, that just Velcro holding something on is not going to be sufficient. You may put some elastic bands or stuff like that around it, but by the time you've done that, you may as well have just mollied something in and got one of the tearaway pouches, you know, with retention. Warrior Assault Systems do them, HSGI do them, and so does a few other brands that are out there. So really impressed with the quality. You know, if you're looking looking for a set size, if you're above a 30-inch waist, you're going to be no drama. You can pick these up over at Raptor Tactical. Search it on Google, it comes up right at the top. They've got a variety of different belts. Again, this is the Odin Mark III belt. So again, really impressed with this. If you have any questions, comments, information, anything that I've missed out, please make sure that you put it in the comments box below. A ton more videos coming to the channel soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.